It's the middle of summer, and you're making a sandwich. You've got a tomato from the store, a good dollar or two you paid for it, and you cut into it, and your heart sinks the way it always does. The inside is pale and pinkish, hard, a little mealy. You lay a slice on the bread and take a bite, and there's nothing there. No sweetness, no tang, no real tomato taste at all. It might as well be wet cardboard. And you know what a tomato is supposed to taste like. You remember it, warm off the vine, deep red clear through, sweet and sharp and dripping down your hand, so good you'd eat it like an apple with a little salt. But that's not what the store sells you. The store sells you a hard, pale thing picked green 1,000 miles away and turned red in a truck, and it tastes like nothing. And here's the part nobody ever stops to think about. That tomato you just cut into is full of seeds, a whole slice of them. And everyone you scrape into the bin, you've been throwing away an entire summer of tomatoes, every single time. I want you to stop and think about this for a second. Every tomato you've ever eaten was packed with seeds, dozens of them, right there in the slices. And everyone is a whole tomato plant waiting to happen. A single slice, laid on a bit of soil, can give you a dozen plants or more, and each of those can give you 15, 18 pounds of tomatoes in a summer. So the makings of more tomatoes than your family could eat sit inside one tomato you already paid for. You don't need to buy plants or even seed. You need one slice and a few simple steps nobody ever taught you. There was a time every farm family grew their own tomatoes, and plenty of them. They didn't buy seed year after year. They saved it from the best tomato of the best plant and planted it again the next spring, so a good tomato carried on for generations. Come late summer, the kitchen was full of it. Jars of sauce being put up, tomatoes canned for winter, sliced red on the supper table. A few plants fed a family through the season and filled the shelves besides. Every grandmother knew how to keep it going. That knowing got forgotten. But it costs almost nothing, and there's nothing hard about it. You can learn the whole of it in about 15 minutes right here. Let me tell you who I am. My name is Jacob Miller. I'm an Amish farmer out in the Holmes County settlement here in Ohio, and my wife is Rebecca. We grow rows of tomatoes every summer, and come the end of it, Rebecca's kitchen is a sight. Sauce simmering, jars lined up, enough put by to see us clear through winter the way her mother did before her. Now, I'll be honest with you from the start, the way I always am. I start my tomatoes from seed each spring, saved from the best of last year's crop. But today I'll show you something simpler still, and just as good, how to start a whole crop from a single slice of a store tomato, for nothing at all. No seed to buy, no plants to buy, just a slice you'd have thrown away. Let me show you how. Before we get into it, if you like learning the old ways of doing things, do two small things for me. Tap that like button down there. It helps this little channel more than you'd ever guess. And subscribe so you can keep learning right alongside Rebecca and me. That's all I'll ask. Now, let's grow some tomatoes. Here's everything I'll show you in order. First, how to start your plants from a slice, and this is the most important of all. Then how to get them to sprout and grow strong. Then the big pot they'll live in. Then how to plant them, deep, the way that makes a strong plant. Then sun, water, and support. Then feeding, pollinating, and keeping the bugs off. And last, the harvest, and the cycle that means you'll never buy a tomato again. Do these few things, and from a single slice you'd have scraped into the bin, you'll grow tomato plants of your own. A summer of them, 15 or 18 pounds a plant, deep red and sweet the way a tomato ought to be, for nothing. Never to buy a tomato again. So let's get into it. Step number 1, starting your plants from a slice. And this is the most important of all. It's where the whole thing begins. And it's so simple you won't believe it works until you see it. Take a ripe tomato, a good fresh one, organic if you can, though any will do, and slice it crossways, the way you would for a sandwich. Every one of those slices is full of seeds, right there in the flesh. That's all you need. Now take a small pot with holes in the bottom for drainage and fill it with a good rich soil mix. I like about 60 parts garden soil to 40 parts compost, plenty of richness for the little ones. Lay your tomato slices flat right on top, seeds and flesh and all. Then cover them with a thin layer of that same soil, just enough to tuck them in, and water it well, and that's it, the whole trick. Every seed in that slice will sprout, And from one tomato, you'll have far more plants than you know what to do with. It costs you nothing but a slice you'd have thrown away. Nature does the rest. Step number 2, getting them to sprout and grow strong. Once you've watered that pot, set it in partial shade to start, out of the hard, direct sun for now. That gentler light and steady warmth is what the seeds want while they wake up and put out their first roots and shoots. Keep the soil moist while you wait. And before long, you'll see them come up. A whole crowd of tiny green seedlings pushing up out of that soil. The moment they do, that's your sign. Move the pot into full sun or undergrow lights if that's what you've got. Now they want all the light they can get, because from here on, the sun is their food. It's what they turn into growth. So give them plenty. Let them grow on there, in the sun, kept moist, until each little plant stands about 6 to 8 inches tall. When they've reached that height, they're strong enough to leave the nursery pot and move to a home of their own. That's when the real growing begins. Step number 3, the big pot they'll live in. A tomato plant grows large and gives a heavy crop, so it needs room for its roots and plenty of food. And that starts with a big container. Take a good-sized pot or grow bag, at least 18 to 20 inches across and 15 to 18 deep. And hear me, bigger is always better with a tomato. Make sure it's got holes to drain. Fill it with that same rich mix. 60 parts garden soil to 40 parts compost, because a tomato is a hungry plant and wants fertile soil to give you a real crop. And give each plant its own pot, or if you're planting a few together, keep them a hand apart. 6 or 8 inches in a container, 1.5 to 2 feet apart in open ground. A tomato crowded is a tomato that fights for food and gives you less. Step number 4, planting them. And here's the trick that makes a strong plant. First, get your seedling out of the nursery pot without hurting it. Take a trowel and lift it gently, keeping the ball of soil and roots whole and intact. You don't want to tear those little roots and shock the plant. Keep that root ball together. Now here's the part most folks don't know, and it's the making of a strong tomato. Dig a good deep hole, 6 or 8 inches down, strip off the lower leaves of your seedling, and plant it deep. Deeper than you'd think, so only the top few inches stand above the soil. Why so deep? Because a tomato has a rare gift. It grows new roots all along any part of the stem you bury. So that buried stem becomes a whole extra root system underground. And a plant with roots like that is strong, able to hold up a heavy load of fruit without faltering. Fill the hole back in, press the soil gentle around the stem, and water it well. Step number 5, sun, water, and holding them up. Right after you plant, give your tomatoes a couple of days in partial shade to get over the move, then bring them into the sun a little at a time. From then on, a tomato wants full, direct sun, 5 to 8 hours a day, to grow well and ripen fruit. Find your sunniest spot and keep them there. Now, water is the real secret to a good tomato crop, so listen close. Water often, at least once a day in the heat, to keep the top of the soil evenly moist. But moist, mind you, not soggy. Too much and the roots rot. Too little and the plant goes weak and thin. Steady and even is what a tomato wants. And one important thing, water the soil at the base, not the leaves, because wet leaves invite disease and fungus, and that's trouble you don't need. And as your plants shoot up tall and load with fruit, they'll need holding up. Set a good stout stake beside each one, 4 or 5 feet tall, pushed firm into the soil, and tie the main stem to it loosely with string or a strip of cloth as it climbs. Step number 6, feeding them, helping them set fruit, and keeping the bugs off. First, feeding. A tomato eats a lot to make all that fruit, so every 18 to 20 days, work a good helping of compost into the soil around your plants. That steady feeding gives them the strength to keep the tomatoes coming all season. Next, pollination. One folks forget. A tomato flower is mostly pollinated by the wind, with a little help from the bees. But if your plants sit in a still corner with no breeze or there aren't many bees about, pollination can fall short, and no pollination means no fruit. So give them a hand. Every few days, reach in and gently shake the flowering stems. That shakes the pollen loose inside each flower and sets the fruit. A small thing that makes a big difference. And last, the pests. Every 6 to 8 days, give your plants a spray with a homemade bug remedy. A simple mix of neem oil, garlic, and hot pepper steeped in water. It's all natural, costs next to nothing, and keeps the pests off without a bit of poison. Nature's own protection. Step number 7, the harvest and the cycle that means you'll never buy a tomato again. Your plant will start giving you fruit somewhere around 35 to 60 days after you set it out. Watch those green tomatoes swell, then blush, then turn a deep, ripe red, and that's when you pick. A tomato's ready when it's colored up full and gone a little soft to a gentle squeeze, softer than a hard green one. To pick it, hold the fruit and pull it gentle off the stem or snip it free with sharp scissors. And before you eat them, give them a good wash to rinse off any dust or residue. And now here's the beautiful part, the part that makes those words in the title come true. Save the seeds from your very best tomato, the ripest, sweetest one off your strongest plant, dry them, or just save a slice the way we started, and come next spring you plant them again. That's tomatoes for free, year after year, from a crop you grew yourself. One plant gives 15 or 18 pounds in a summer. A handful feeds your family and fills Rebecca's canning shelves besides. Buy one tomato, learn this once, and never buy another. Now here's where it all comes together. Let me run it back for you, quick and plain. First, start from a slice. Lay slices on rich soil, cover them thin, and water. Then sprout them. Partial shade till they come up, then full sun, and grow them to 6 or 8 inches. Then a big pot, filled with rich soil, one plant to each. Then plant deep. Strip the low leaves and bury the stem, so it roots all along and stands strong. Then sun, steady water at the soil, and a stake to hold them up. Then feed every few weeks, shake the flowers to set fruit and spray for bugs, and last, harvest at 35 to 60 days when they're red and soft, and save a slice to do it all again. That's the whole of it. And let me tell you what all that adds up to. Vines taller than the children, hung heavy with tomatoes, deep red, warm from the sun, so ripe they nearly fall into your hand. You pick one and bite it right there in the garden, and the taste, sweet and sharp and full, juice down your wrist, that's a tomato, the way you'd forgotten one could be. Carry an armload into Rebecca's kitchen, and there's no end to what they become. Sauce thick and red on the stove, jars put up for the deep of winter, thick slices with salt on a summer plate, 15, 18 pounds off a single plant, all of it grown from one slice you'd have scraped into the bin, tasting like something the store could never sell you. Now let me tell you how knowledge this simple ever got forgotten. There's no money in a tomato you grew yourself. The store would far rather sell you those pale, hard tomatoes every single week, all year round, picked green so they'll ship 1,000 miles and never mind the taste. There's no profit for them in teaching you that a single slice of one of their tomatoes would grow you a whole summer's worth, sweeter than anything on their shelf, for free. So nobody teaches it. The old knowledge of growing and saving your own, the slice, the seed, the deep planting, quit being passed down when folks stopped growing their own, and a country came to believe a tomato is just a pale red ball from a plastic box. Most folks never knew they were throwing away a garden with every slice. And here's the plain math of it. Store tomatoes run you $2, $3 a pound, taste like next to nothing, and the soft ones go in the bin besides. But one tomato plant, grown from one free slice, gives you 15 to 18 pounds in a season. Set out a handful and you've got more than your family can eat, canned and put by for winter on top of that. And it costs almost nothing. A little soil, a little compost, and a slice you already paid for once. Save your seed and it's free forever. There's no better bargain in all of gardening. So you don't need to buy plants, you don't need to buy seed, and you surely don't need to keep paying for pale, tasteless tomatoes in a plastic box. Everything you need is in a slice you'd have thrown away. Give it good soil, plenty of sun, a deep planting, and steady water, and it'll grow you all the tomatoes you can use. Now, the title says Endless Tomatoes and Never Buy Again, and I'll be honest with you, the way I always am. The slice really does work. That's no exaggeration. But a tomato is a plant of the warm season. It grows, it gives, and when the frost comes, it dies back. So endless doesn't mean one plant that lives forever. It means the cycle. You save a slice or a handful of seed from your best and start again each spring for free. And one honest word more. Seeds from a store tomato don't always grow up exactly like the one you started with. That's just the nature of it. But they'll be tomatoes, and they'll be yours. Save your own seed year to year, and you truly never buy a tomato again. So here's what I want you to do this week, and it costs you nothing but one slice. Next time you've got a good ripe tomato in the house, before you eat the whole thing, cut off one slice and save it. Fill a small pot with soil and compost. Lay that slice on top, cover it thin, and water it well. Set it in partial shade, and wait for the little ones to come up. That one slice is the start of a whole summer of tomatoes. More than you'd believe could come from a thing you were about to throw away. Because here's what happens. The little ones love this one from the start. There's real wonder for a child in laying a slice of tomato on some dirt and watching a crowd of green sprouts push up a week or two later. Let them lay the slices and water the pot. And once your family has tasted a real tomato off your own vine, warm and sweet the way a tomato ought to be, the pale ones at the store are finished for good. They'll be saving slices and seeds right alongside you, and one day teach their own children how. That's how the knowing comes back, not from a book, but one slice at a time. Now I'd love to hear from you. Tell me down in the comments. Did you have any idea that a single slice of tomato would grow you a whole crop? And what else do you grow from seeds or scraps you'd have thrown away? And if your mother or grandmother had a way with tomatoes or a recipe for the sauce, share it down there with the rest of us. Those little things slip away when nobody writes them down, and I read everyone. So the next time you slice into a tomato, stop a moment and look at all those seeds before you scrape them away and think on what they truly are. That's not waste in your hand. That's a whole summer of tomatoes waiting to happen, sauce and sandwiches and jars on the shelf for years to come, all folded into a single slice. Give it good soil, warm sun, and a steady drink of water, and the earth will hand you back more than you could ever carry home in a bag. Grow plenty, eat it ripe, and share the harvest with the people you love.